6 women that do 9 hours each?
No.
That would be 1 man hour.
No. Oh, wait a minute. I just got that. Woo! Brian is losing it right now. He had to turn his mic off. He is laughing so hard. Oh. We are going to be in we're going to be getting phone calls for that one.
Okay, folks. If that were even remotely true, women's inequality, if that was even remotely true, it's funny because there's no truth to it whatsoever.
No.
It's funny because the Democrats harp on it. It's funny because every smart business person would fire every man and only hire women. Rush
made that
it's a fact.
Yeah, he made that argument a long time ago, and it just blew away. It's the capitalist. It's the perfect capitalist response to the morons out there that say that there is a pay gap between men and women.
Right. It's just
whatever the reason is, and I'm sure part of it is fudging the numbers. But I don't believe when they say, "Oh, women only make 70 cents for every dollar a man does." I think that they're leaving key parts of those stats out, because if it was true that a woman does the same amount of work as a man in a given hour and that she's only earning 70 cents for every dollar, that means that the company paying that man is throwing 30 cents away for every hour. Every hour they're throwing 30 cents away. Right. And that's for each and every man. Imagine if they have a huge company with thousands of employees. They could be saving $1,000 an hour.
Now, I'm not being sexist, and I'm not being racist, and I'm not being a bad person. Facts are facts. If I see a young man, say he's 22, freshly out of college, and a young lady, 22, freshly out of college.
Oh boy, we're about to go into the embutment again.
Both equally qualified.
Okay.
She's married. He's not.
Uh-oh. Do we go into the weeds yet? So what are you saying?
There's a very good chance I might side with him, because the likelihood at 22 years old and married and going to be pregnant fairly soon,
right,
with at least the next 3 to 5 years.
And we live in a world where if Brian were to make that public as a business owner, he'd get in big trouble.
By the way, our producer is a pregnant female that's 22.
Okay, so we're allowed to say that. We're allowed to say that.
We call her Mr. Producer just as a joke.
Because we pay her as a Mr.
We do, and it's kind of a spinoff from Mark Levin as well.
Mr. Producer.
Mr. Producer. So, do we...
And let me tell you something else, Mr. Producer. Because there is no show. He's not talking to an audience. He's literally just yelling at a guy named Mr. Producer. He's not even a producer. His last name is actually Producer.
Right.
So anyway.
Screaming and yelling. So let's talk about how the Democratic Parties...
Oh,
yes, the parties. Democratic parties... Both the Republican and Democrat.
For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, both parties are Democratic.
And Obama alluded to this last week.
Did he?
Saying that he guaranteed that there will be a Democratic president in the White House.
No crap. That's because, for those of you that don't know, and you're like, what?
How do they call it this early?
What are they talking about?
He knows it's rigged.
The Republican Party is Democratic.
As well.
I'm not saying they're Democrats. I'm not saying that they're liberal or progressive. They're Democratic because they're elected.
Right. And stick with us. We have a ton of new listeners. I mean, literally thousands and thousands of new listeners.
Every time you hear idiots out there, and even Hannity is still doing it. They're calling the Democrat Party the Democratic Party. And the reason they shouldn't, and I actually had a discussion with, what's his name on the Hannity show about this. Him and Hannity both were referring, Jamie Dupree. Oh. Jamie Dupree and Hannity were calling it the Democratic Party.
Why do they do that?
So I sent a message to Jamie Dupree saying, stop calling it the Democratic Party. It's the Democrat Party.
Crazy.
He responded back to me, and he said, well, I only call them Democratic because that's what they call themselves on their website.
Whatever.
And I said, I responded back, but he didn't respond to this. I said, listen, when you call it the Democratic Party, it implies that the Republican Party is not Democratic, when of course they are.
Of course.
They are Democratic. They're not dictators. They're democratically elected people.
Correct.
So they are also Democratic. So don't call the Democrats Democratic because it makes it sound like the Republicans are not.
Right. And if you've been listening to the show for a long time, you know this already. This is just reinforcement. It's just practice.
So when Obama, and I don't believe Obama has any kind of an intellect that we do. I really don't believe that.
Because he listens to the show for information.
Right. He has to learn from us. When he says, I guarantee a Democratic victory, we know he's not talking about Republicans.
No, he's talking about stealing it by hook or by crook.
Which he's done before.
He did it twice for himself.
And, you're never going to see his fingerprints on anything, just like you will not see the fingerprints of Adolf Hitler on any paperwork or evidence for orders to kill 6 million Jews.
And you will not see any of his inkage on any of the paperwork that has to do with the stand-down order given to all the Border Patrol agents on the southern border.
And you will not find his fingerprints or ink on any orders to investigate Tea Party groups through the IRS.
Or to proceed with indictment of Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Well, I'm waiting for that. He's going to pardon her.
You know he's going to pardon. I don't think we've talked about this fully, but absolutely,
we have not.
You're going to cry. You're going to be upset. Your eyes are going to bleed. You're going to shoot out of everywhere and whatever. But go to sickbias.com, sickbias.com, and the article you'll be looking for, hit the search button at the top and look for Clinton body count.
Oh, I did see that you posted that.
It is so long. It is so scary.
So whoever doesn't get pardoned gets executed.
It is so scary. And not only the body count, but they also include like one lawyer wound up dead, and then his replacement a week later disappeared.
Interesting.
So there was just these. I mean, there's a lot of tinfoil hat stuff. I understand. There is a lot of fact. There's a lot of this is real. The article lays out all different scenarios that the Clintons were involved in, and people around those situations wound up dead. How does that happen?
Well, everybody dies.
25, 35, 40. But how is it always, like every time you did a job at somebody's house, or like maybe take a year, every year we look back at all the jobs that you did in a year in landscaping. And every year, ironically, 20 people of all the jobs you did died.
There's a connection there. It doesn't take
Inspector
Gadget to figure that one out.
But we can't prove it was you. But it's just so ironic every single year.
Interesting.
Might be 15 one year, might be 25 the next year.
But they all have a common denominator of having some sort of a contact with Hillary.
And the ones who died paid the least amount and didn't tip.
Are you talking about me or Hillary?
Everybody else tipped.
Oh, boy.
So it's I don't know where I was going with it. But yeah, that's the whole pardon thing. There's one last thing that Obama's going to do. He's going to give it to Hillary because she is part and parcel. They hate each other, but she is part and parcel cut of the same cloth that he is, in the same, raised up by
She calls herself a progressive.
Right.
She does not have any. This is what's so scary about Obama. She has nothing on Obama when it comes to background in communism.
You said this is what about Obama. She. You called Obama she. But
Did
you
I?
were really talking about Hillary.
Yeah, Hillary has nothing on Obama when it comes to his. Did I say her?
She.
His background in communism.
That's not a Freudian slip, folks. That may be real.
No, I thought we were talking. We're not talking about Michelle.
Breaking nose.
No,
Breaking news. Michelle breaks his nose again.
I feel like we're at the bar. Anyway,
Slip of the lip.
Anyway, it is Saturday night.
And what are you drinking? Is that really coffee?
Oh, I wish you had your glass. Like sometimes when you take a drink of your glass, it's in front of the mic.
You can hear the ice?
Yes!
Oh!
Sounds like a bell ringing almost.
Well, that rocks glass does have good ice in it.
Yes, it does.
So if you go there, you can see the body count. You see all the horrible, horrible things. I mean, I can't even begin. We've gone off on all the things that have the clutter and the litter, the insane litter. And there was an article that I put up. It was I got it off Matt Drudge Report, and it was amazing. There's a woman that back 25, 30 years ago. Oh, no. Actually, she did this interview back 20 years ago. And she talked about 40 years ago when she met this man that she fell in love with, and he fell in love with her. And it was a match made in heaven, and she was the head of the cheerleading team, and he was the most charismatic head of the political debate team, and they got along great. And he told her one day, he said, I got this other girlfriend. And she's like, well, why don't you just leave her? And he said, well, I can't, because she always kicks my butt. She makes me do the things that I'm supposed to do. So, kind of militant, like he needed that militant person in his life to achieve the goals that she and he both had to aspire to. So she talked about her relationship with this aspiring politician and the death threats that she started to get from his then girlfriend. The girlfriend would give her death threats, would call her family's house, or would have other people call her family's house. It was unbelievable, and it's just spiraling out of control. She finally walked away from it and cut all ties. That was Bill Clinton's first girlfriend in college.
Oh my God!
That he actually, from her point of view and from the things that she said in the article, there was a real love relationship there, and she talked about the vicious, angry Hillary, young, early 20-year-old Hillary Clinton, the backstabbing, the very that's what it was. This head of the cheerleading team, she was helping out Bill Clinton in his campaign to run for some local office.
Okay.
And she helped out in the campaign office and hand out flyers and things like that. And she would stay late one night. There's glasses of wine,
of
her
course.
and Bill.
Hey, baby.
And Arkansas. And Hillary was in D.C.
Wait. He was with Hillary?
No.
Hillary, this is before Hillary.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hillary was in D.C., and the head of the cheerleaders was hanging out with Bill, and they were having dinner. And Hillary made it a point to show up knowing that was going down. And she walked in and looked at her with just steely eyes and said, oh, wine. I got to get me some of that. Where's Bill? And it was cold as ice, and she knew she just had to leave. This can't go on. That was like the end of the end, because Hillary, supposed to be out of town multiple times, would show up at inexplicable time, just showing up.
You would if you were her,
right?
So she knew from a really early time in their relationship, like from the beginning.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Boy. But she was on a mission, and she had an agenda from Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals, to lay down the law. And I honestly think, after reading this whole article, Saul Alinsky told her, Hillary, okay, here, babe,
babe.
I know what you
babe.
want to do.